As someone who was getting drunk every single day at the end of his active addiction, I have a daily game plan for staying sober today that does require or suggest daily action. I believe myself to be an alcoholic in every sense of the word. I don't think it defines me, but I do think it is something that's important to remember about myself, lest I forget and go back to a very miserable, miserable way of living. So in this video, I'm going to tell you what I do and what works for me, and that's it. It's just what's been working for me. I have 39 days sober today. I'm incredibly grateful for that. It has come at the cost of a great many years of suffering. If you need help, I encourage you to ask for it. I know for me, one of the things that was holding me back from trying to get healthy again and trying to find recovery again was that I had failed so many times in the past, and call it ego, call it addiction, call it fear, I don't know. But something kept me from saying I need help again. Unnecessary suffering was the consequence of this sort of attitude and mindset. So if you're struggling, it's okay to ask for help. First thing I do when I get up in the morning is I pray. I'm not someone who typically has engaged in any prayer unless I was in some sort of tremendous trouble. I'm a foxhole prayer type of person historically, and I don't want to be that person anymore because I believe in the power of prayer because I was told that it could help, and I want help. So I wake up every day and I've got note cards. They're about this size, and I have 4 of them, and on them are 4 different prayers that I was told to read every single morning, which I do, which basically just say in so many eloquent words, God, universe, good orderly direction, whatever allows my brain to just realize that I'm not God. Help me not fall into my own self-will. Help me to follow instruction and direction. Help me to be willing to do better, to be different, to have faith, to trust. I also say a prayer for any person that I'm personally struggling with. If I have a relationship issue or resentment issue, I pray for them. I'm going through a list. There's someone I'm having a conflict with, and I was told that if I hold on to these conflicts, if I stay in a state of resentment, it could lead me to drink again. And right now, that's all I care about. All I care about is not being an active alcoholic anymore. It was killing me. My last video details that. And if you want to watch that and really get a sense of what my drinking was like and how it was impacting me, feel free to watch. Maybe we can relate. So I pray for all good things that I want for myself for that person. From there, I get 2 glasses of water in my system and some supplements. A multivitamin, a probiotic, L-tyrosine, things like that. So I take my supplements, I drink my water. From there, I read some literature out of traditional recovery programs, 12-step programs. I do it with a humble attitude as much as I can muster. I'm also using an app called I Am Sober. I'm using this app to track my progress, and I really like it. This is not a sponsored video, but I Am Sober, it's a free app. It's been working for me, it's been helping. I just want accountability, and that seems to be a nice part of my structure right now. After that, I am usually awake for at least 30 to 45 minutes before I take in some coffee. By the way, I miss coffee. As an active alcoholic, I couldn't get through more than like half a glass before the shakes would just get too crazy for me, which really, really sucked. From there, I'm making it a habit. I'm proud of myself for this. I'm making it a habit to reach out to 3 other people minimum who are in recovery, whether they're new in recovery like me or they have a lot of established time in recovery. I'm reaching out to 3 people to check in and say hi, to form the habit of making connections with people that suffer from addiction like I do, so that I can build my network and not do what I've done in the past, which is remain very, very isolated and lonely, even amongst recovery groups, 12-step groups or what have you. Sometimes people respond, sometimes they don't, but it doesn't matter in my mind because it's me trying to get outside of myself and see how other people are doing, which I really like. And then oftentimes people will respond to me throughout the day. And so now I've got constant pings and alerts coming from people in the same space who are trying for the same thing, which is to not be addicts and alcoholics active in their addiction, trying to live better and feel better. From there, I go to a noon 12-step recovery meeting. I do this 6 days a week, sometimes 7, but I'd say about 6 days a week. I go to a noon meeting, and it puts me in a really good frame of mind. I try to stay after the meeting as well to see who I can talk to, whether it's to ask them how they are doing and or just to share about how I'm doing, but to get into the habit of being around people outside of just the meeting so they can get to know me, so I can get to know them, so that I can develop a social connection, which has really been working. I then have a healthy meal My typical meal is an oatmeal type of meal with a couple eggs, collagen, protein, plenty of fruits and peanut butter, and it fills me up and it's good and it's nourishing and it's clean. A couple hours later, I go to my gym. And part of my normal daily routine is to exercise for a minimum of an hour a day. I take a CrossFit class at my gym, and a couple days a week right now, I'm coaching. So I'm making sure that I'm getting fitness, I'm getting movement. I also forgot to mention in the morning, I'm getting natural light exposure. So I have a light box that's right behind me here, and I'm making sure that it's right in my face to help reset my circadian rhythm and help encourage healthy sleeping patterns, which were completely disrupted in my addiction. I do that every morning, and or I go outside. It's just getting a little cold. So after the evening has gone by, I then go to another recovery meeting. My recovery meetings are either in person or online. I try to always get at least one in person, but most days, 6 days a week, I'm doing 2. That's what's working for me to bookend my day. Morning recovery, evening recovery, anything to help keep me from falling back into deep-rooted patterns, behaviors, reactions, responses. The way I have been hasn't been working when it comes to me maintaining sobriety and maintaining what I would call healthy behavior, healthy responses to life and reactions to life. So I'm trying to stay in the solution. I go to my evening meeting, and again, I make sure I stay after, and I talked, and I get phone numbers for as many people as I can. I've also been focusing on finding new people and getting their number so that I can have more people to reach out to every morning and communicate to during the day. And then after that, I go home. I usually cook a meal or pick up a meal for my wife and I spend time with her. I really spend time connecting with her, and we go on walks every evening, and we talk and we check in with each other. The majority of nights, I call my sponsor in my 12-step meeting, in my 12-step program. Almost every day we're texting, and most days we're talking. He's also taking me through recovery work, known as the steps, and I'm trying to set aside about 10 minutes a day to work on that. Sometimes I get overwhelmed and emotionally triggered by digging into the realities of my addiction, my past, my behaviors, but I was told to do it, so I'm doing it to the best of my ability, chipping away. The end of my day routine is to stop eating a couple, 2-3 hours before bed. This is allowing me to digest, and it's helping improve the likelihood that I'll be able to get some proper sleep. I don't know about you, if you happen to be someone who was once in active addiction, or maybe you're watching this from a state of being kind of trapped and stuck in addiction, but my sleep was horrendous. I was getting drunk every night, so I was never getting good sleep. So I'm trying to allow my body, my brain to heal from a couple years of rampant drinking. Every morning I ask God, again, the God of my lack of understanding, but I just say the words, please help me stay sober today. Please help me stay sober, because I know that, well, one, I was encouraged to do this, but two, I know that I couldn't stay sober on my own. I just couldn't. I tried. I could not stay sober for the life of me, no matter what. So I ask God to keep me sober every day. I pray to God to keep me sober every day. And at the end of the day, I read my same note cards. I pray for that same person I might be struggling with a resentment towards. And then I thank God for keeping me sober. To finish off my night, I do an inventory. So I just review my day. I'm trying to become more mindful of how I'm acting, moving, and thinking throughout the day. Was I scared, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Have I kept something to myself that I should tell someone at once? Was I thinking about myself, others? Was I getting lost in morbid reflection? Was I resentful today? I review my day. I put in 3 things I'm grateful for, 3 good things that happened, and then most nights I journal. There's a massive detachment within me in active addiction as to what I was doing and why, just driven by addiction. So I'm trying to be thoughtful as a person so that I can grow and improve and not be in that terrible state that I was once in. That's my typical day right now. And you know what comes to my mind as I'm saying this out loud? I wonder, at least, because I'm a classic mind reader. I don't know about you guys, but I wonder if people are thinking, sheesh, that is a lot. That's a lot of shit to do during the day for sobriety. And I think historically I would have been inclined to agree, but not today, not right now, and hopefully not anymore in general. I don't think any of the stuff that I have just detailed to you that's been working for me, none of which has been my own thinking, by the way. This is just me taking directions from people that have something I want. I don't want what I had. It was the worst. And I was in so much pain that I've been desperate enough to do it one day at a time, this time around, almost 40 days sober. And to close this out, the reason I don't think anything I'm doing is particularly special or overly tedious or exhausting for me is because I was so exhausted in my addiction by comparison. I was spending every waking moment engaged in and dealing with my addiction. One, I was getting drunk every day, which meant I was pursuing alcohol every day, which meant I was hungover and sick every day. And I was anxious, and I was withdrawing, and I was fighting off depression and weird mental health stuff, and I was fucking up my life. So right now, I am willing to go to great lengths compared to the past. I'm talking to you guys because I'm hoping it'll help keep me sober. And I'm hoping I can find me out there in whatever form who might benefit from hearing this. This isn't my way of saying, this is what you should do. I have no clue what anyone should do. I just know that this is what's been suggested to me, and this feels good to me. So that's my story for today. That is my daily game plan for staying sober. In the comments below, if you'd be so kind, what have you been doing to stay sober if you happen to be like me and need help? And if you're struggling, just maybe this is your chance to throw out an SOS. Maybe you've struggled to admit that you're struggling. So feel free to put that in the comments too. It's a safe place, as they say. And know that I appreciate you, and I thank you for this opportunity to have your attention and to share my experience with you. I really am. I don't take it for granted. At least I'm trying hard not to. One day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time, we can get through what we're going through. I promise, and we can do it together. You don't have to be alone. That's a message I keep hearing, and I believe it. I really believe it. And not being alone isn't just not being, or being around people, because I felt lonely around people in addiction. I think for me, not being alone is making myself available to others and being heard and seen for all my brokenness and my suffering, as well as for the joy I'm finally getting to experience again. I'm not a talker. I'm not a talker. All right, guys, take care. I'll see you later.